Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-da-da.
I love our music.
Hey, welcome to Food for Thought. I'm Deirdre Anderson with Delish Personal Chef Services, and I'm here today with...
Laura Mangone from Chambers Walk Cafe and Catering in Lawrenceville. Hi, Deirdre.
Cool beans. So, this segment, okay. Well, first, can we first celebrate our very first hate mail?
You're celebrating it. I think I just don't even want to talk about it, but okay, sure.
No, because
you have to address it.
you are doing something when you start to piss people off.
Okay. You're impacting.
It's true.
Okay. It's like disciplining a child. There's,
It's true. Now, I'm not for everybody. Mm-hmm. I understand that. Mm-hmm. I have a very strong personality. Mm-hmm. I've got some opinions. Some people aren't going to like me. I get it.
Right.
Okay? But I just was so thrilled to get this. And so for the folks out there that don't know about the hate mail, because I did talk about it on our, by the way, we're here today with PANJradio.com. I have another show on called Food for Thought on 100andchamberradio.com, and we did address the hate mail. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
So the hate mail, the name, it came to via...
The radio station.
Well, it came via a submission form.
Right.
Okay, so they had to fill out a submission form to send it through the website.
Right.
And the name was None Ya Business.
Which cracked me up.
Okay, so we can kind of get a sense of who we're dealing with already?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So, and then subject. I can't remember what the subject was, but it was your trashy show or something.
No. I think the subject was bimbo.
Brainless bimbo. That would be me. Okay. Brainless bimbo.
Yeah.
And he was talking to, he took serious offense.
Oh, wait, when we know it's a he.
Yeah, I know it's a he.
Oh, okay.
I know his name. I'm not going to say it.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if that was...
Well, he's trying to be like anonymous, but his full name is in his email address. Okay? So I think, and there were lots of spelling errors and grammar errors. So I think there's a slight chance that this guy was even dumber than I am. Right?
I'm trying to find it in my phone right now. It was pretty hilarious.
So
well,
he took offense because according to him, what I said on the last show about Donald Trump, yes, it's a food show, but we talk about whatever we want, and we sort of integrate it with food. But he said that I said that I would love to see Donald Trump get shot in the head.
And I don't believe that's what you said.
And I thought to myself, I can be kind of mean, especially on the radio show, because it's kind of part of the shtick. But I don't think I would have said that.
No,
and so when I thought back, what I said was, something about how I can't stand him, which I'm allowed to say that.
Yes,
not the only person, believe it or not, that feels that way.
You're in the majority right now.
God, I hope so.
What I
said was to clear the air a little bit with Mr. who thinks he's anonymous. I did not say that. I said if there was one person on the planet that I can imagine not feeling sad if they got shot in the head, it would be Donald Trump.
Right.
And I think I even went on to say, of course, I would feel sad for his family, because I know he has kids and all that.
Right.
He has one young son.
Of course.
Even, I would never.
Yeah, and I think I followed with, you don't want to wish ill will on anyone, but that doesn't mean...
Except for him.
Oh, boy. Anyway...
May I interrupt for a second?
Sure.
You actually started off by talking about how Donald said that he could go into the middle of the street and shoot somebody.
Did I start with that?
Yes, he said that like last week.
I don't know if I started with that, but that
That's
ironically...
what got you the idea, I think. Because he
Perhaps.
said he could kill somebody with a gun.
He said he could shoot somebody on the street.
And it wouldn't impact his popularity.
And it wouldn't impact his popularity.
All right. Well, I don't know.
Okay, he's whack, Laura.
I know.
And he deserves it.
I'm still trying to find the darn email, because it was
hilarious. And if his daughter wasn't his daughter, he would date her.
Probably.
Okay?
Well, anyway.
It was pretty hot.
It was pretty...
Yeah, but you know what, Rob? Okay.
I think the closing line of the email was something like, and if a stupid fish would just keep their mouth shut, they wouldn't get caught. Something like that.
Some dumb,
Yeah.
stupid,
So,
ridiculous.
anyway. Nice to know
So
someone's
anyway-
listening.
Well, he's not listening anymore, according to him. And you know what? You know what I say? Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Have a lovely evening. To each his own.
Bye-bye, none your business. All right. Do we have any? Oh, and then
Food?
somebody. Well, we'll get to the food. Wait a minute. More on Donald Trump.
Yes.
Donald Trump be talking trash about my Pope Francis.
I know, actually. Yeah. Not
Well,
kinda
Pope Francis,
nice.
maybe he shouldn't have said anything publicly about Donald Trump. Maybe that wasn't too wise.
Well, I think it was in response to a question he was asked about the the possible new leader of our country, and it had to do with Christianity. And I believe his response was, anyone who wants to just put up a wall is not a
Is
Christian.
not a Christian. You know,
So I don't think he was particularly disparaging. He was just saying, if this is your feeling, you are not a Christian. So, yes, and then I'm sure Donald will have some choice words for the Pope.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah.
Anyway, you want to talk about
Bye-bye
food?
now.
Bye-bye, Donald.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about food.
I have a story
Yes.
about kimchi.
Oh, please. I love kimchi.
Do you?
I do.
I just went to, have you ever been to Asai? I don't know how it's pronounced, either Assi or Asai Market in North Wales.
No.
Rob knows. And I went this morning because I had a doctor's appointment near Philadelphia. So on the way back, I went. And of course, what do you think I got?
Kimchi.
Kimchi, but I got buttloads of shirataki noodles.
Nice.
So I've been living on, by the way, see this estrogen right here? Okay. I can barely eat. I've been gaining weight without eating anything. You know what I ate yesterday?
What?
4 hard-boiled eggs and shirataki noodles.
Well, I don't think that's good.
Well, when you
don't
get
think that's
desperate, you have to.
good.
Well, it's going to be just 10 pounds instead of 30. I'm sorry.
Well,
But anyway, so I can eat copious amounts of shirataki noodles. Now let's just
So
briefly
good. Ugh, love
tell me
them.
what you're making tonight.
I'm
Is
making
it tonight with
it's
shirataki?
tonight with shirataki, and I actually started it already.
Oh,
I did, and I'm attempting, I mean, I make it all the time. I've been making it since I'm a kid. My aunt used to have big paella parties in our backyard when we were kids every year, and I make paella often. Sometimes I'll just make a toned down version with maybe not as much seafood, etc. But tonight I'm making the paella, my favorite paella, which basically just has chicken and shrimp in it, none of the other seafood, and I'm making it with the shirataki rice.
I need to try
So I know. Well, if you're lucky, we won't eat it all tonight, and I'll be able to give you some.
Okay.
So it's basically I saute an onion and green peppers and red peppers, and then I get really good chorizo, which I slice
you do
and
put the chorizo
saute.
in.
I do
Okay.
saute that in there.
Now hold it.
Yep.
You're not gonna be able to do the real paella method with shirataki
I'm
rice.
not. I know, but I've already thought about that
Okay.
because, as our listeners might not know, shirataki doesn't have that same starch that a pasta does, and it is not absorbing like a rice or pasta would
It's
be.
more gelatinous.
It's more gelatinous, although, you know, it's pretty darn pasta-like when you're eating it in a sauce.
Especially when you eat it with a sauce that's traditional with pasta.
Yes,
like
exactly. Like a bolognese or
marinara
yeah,
or something like
absolutely.
that. Uh-huh.
So I have my onions, green peppers, red peppers, the chorizo. I steep a little bit of saffron in some warm chicken broth.
Where do you get your saffron?
Actually, the batch that I have right now, my sister bought in Spain. So
Of course she did.
It's in a beautiful glass vial. I love it. It's a really cool. It almost looks like a barber's pole.
Was
It's
it
a
like
cool-
$8,000?
No, actually, it wasn't as expensive as it is here. It was
Oh, so if you get it right from Spain, it's not as expensive.
it was not as expensive. So I put that steeped saffron in there, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in some chicken, and I'm going to use breast for this, and shrimp. And the shirataki, because it does not absorb like a rice would, or it doesn't have that starchiness, I think I'm going to put a little bit of flour in the sauce and just cook it out so it'll tighten it up a little bit. So when I put the shirataki, at least it'll stick to it and it'll be a little bit more.
Good thinking.
Yeah. So that's
But you are introducing some carbs there.
Just like a tablespoon,
little bit,
tablespoon of flour. It's not going to hurt
Okay.
anything. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Quick paella story before the kimchi story. Okay, because we got time, right?
Yep.
Let me look at my clock here. Yeah, we got plenty of time. So I know a guy, a friend of mine, Jorge. He throws great paella parties. He's from Colombia.
Oh, nice.
He has made this big iron sort of base for the big giant pan. He has
Right.
pans that serve up to like 100 people.
Right.
And so he made this iron base, and he does it over an open fire outside. So he does his whole thing, and he wears the chef coat, and he does and he's drinking his wine, and he's doing all these steps. And so everybody was finishing the paella. Once again, wonderful.
Right.
And he started to notice that at the bottom of the paella pan there was like this coating.
Yeah.
And it looked kind of black. And then he peeled it up.
Uh-oh.
And so peels of this stuff was coming up. So he said, "Ladies and gentlemen, this is la miel." And everybody's like, "What?" And so everybody goes over and we all start tasting it.
Right.
So we're peeling
Oh,
off
it's
these.
the crunchy.
Yeah, well,
it's
listen.
the crunchy rice.
So later that night,
Yeah.
we've had a few drinks, and now the rest of the guests are gone. This is another party, but we were talking about it.
Right.
I said, yeah, and remember that miela? I had never heard of that, Jorge. And he said, Deirdre, I stinking burned it. Okay.
Oh, gosh.
He said, when you are a chef and you make a mistake, you better
cover
let
it up.
them
Right.
believe you did it on purpose.
Right.
And he's right.
That's hilarious.
Because I always do that now.
Well,
when I make
there's
mistakes.
actually and when you in Mexico, when you or in the Caribbean, actually, when you're making rice, there's a layer of rice that sometimes gets burnt on the bottom, and they scrape it up and you eat it, and it's basically
So maybe it's a
the
real
burn.
It's a real thing.
It is kind of a real thing. I think it's called. My friend Karen will kill. Karen? She'll
Yeah.
kill me because I can't think of the name of it because she loves it. It's something like
But it tastes burnt.
coco or. Well, that one doesn't taste really burnt, but it's still
I think if it's done
delicious.
the right
It's
way,
got the right flavor.
or if it
it's the
doesn't,
flavor.
if it's not really blackened on the one side,
Yeah,
and
it's
it's
like
just sort of like stuck to the
caramelized.
pan,
Yeah.
it's more caramelized
Right.
than burnt.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
I digress. Should I get back to the kimchi?
Sure do. Yes,
All right.
please.
The story does not start out with kimchi.
Okay.
It becomes kimchi gets introduced toward the end.
Okay.
Okay, so Chicago,
Yes.
1985. Okay.
Sounds like a saga.
I moved to Chicago, and one of the main reasons, believe it or not, was because I needed to be closer to live blues music.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
to be 20.
I was there in 1981.
You were?
Yeah, I worked at the Ritz-Carlton there.
You did.
I did. It was my externship.
I worked at the Drake Hotel.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, we were right near each other.
And I was
A couple of years different, though.
my first day at work, I was bartending. And I was 20 years old. Mm-hmm. And I was working with a guy who had been there for 50 years.
Oh, my gosh.
And they were actually, the Drake was having this big gala for him, celebration. So the Chicago Tribune comes in, and they take a picture of us, and they did a whole spread, and it was like, here's the newest bartender
Like
at the
the changing
Drake,
of
and
the board.
oldest bartender at the Drake.
That's so cool.
How cool is that?
Very cool.
Of course, I can't find. I lost the newspaper, and I'll never.
I wonder
find
if
it
you
again.
can get something
Tried.
on the archives.
I
or-
tried.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Didn't happen. Anywho,
Yes.
Chicago, 1985. Mm-hmm. So I'm at the blues bars. There were three that I frequented a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Kingston Mines, Wise Fools, and Chicago Blues. They're all within a couple of blocks
Yeah.
of one another.
Uh-huh.
I used to always go. I was there by myself. I moved out there on my own. I really didn't have any friends. When I went out by myself. I've
Mm-hmm.
always been like that. Always comfortable doing that. I always dressed pretty conservatively too, because I didn't want to appear like I was looking for men.
Right,
I just
right.
wanted to. I wasn't. I just wanted to listen to the blues.
Right.
So I'm at Kingston Mines, and Valerie Wellington, who is a black woman, she was never like world renowned, but she was well known in Chicago. And she was singing, And there was a big table of women,
Right.
older Black women, okay? And they were obviously like big fans, and they were there like to see Valerie.
support her.
You know, because I have big balls, I walk over to the table. There was a couple of empty seats, and I said, "Hey, do you guys mind if I sit with you?"
Right.
And they were like, "Oh, sure, sit down." You know, like really sweet. And so Valerie, then during the breaks, comes down and sits at that table. So I'm like, "Oh wow, this is the cool table."
Wow.
So I get to like hang with the
That
blues
is
star, right?
cool.
So she starts to take a liking to me, and we're talking, and I'm like, "Wow, I'm like the coolest kid in Chicago, I think." You know, here's this Black, like cool blues singer, and she's digging me. You know,
This is awesome.
So she invites me to go for a retreat for a weekend
Oh my gosh.
at a hotel.
Wow.
Not me and her, but there's a lot of people going.
Right.
And would you like to come? It's all free.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, wow, free? Sure. So I go, and it was the weirdest trip of my life.
wow.
It was very confusing. We would see like really distorted, violent films, and then the next thing you know, this pastor comes out, a really sexy pastor, okay, who's like really charismatic. I totally had a crush on him, and he had this like great sermon, and then we would be swimming, and then more violent movies, and I didn't know what was going on.
and
It was
what
very
was what was the theme of the whole retreat?
well. They don't want to tell you because they don't want you to know yet.
Okay.
So I get back and I'm like, okay, that was weird, but
Okay.
it's done. Valerie calls me. Would you like to come to church with me? I'm like, yeah, man, that's so cool. I'm going to go to the South Side to church with Valerie Wellington. This is so great. So this van comes and picks me up. And Valerie's in it.
Okay, it's
and
getting
a couple of other
suspicious
people are in it. And I'm like, hey, y'all. We go to the church, okay? There's got to be like 2,000 people in this church.
Oh my gosh.
A lot of Asian-looking people with a giant, ginormous, huge picture of Reverend Moon and his wife.
Are you kidding me? They were Moonies?
They were Moonies.
Wow.
And I'm standing there. I'll never forget. I had a dress on. And it was black dress with roses painted all over it. And I'm looking at this picture, and I'm thinking, hey, I know that guy.
Who is that guy? He looks familiar.
So everybody, then the pastor,
Wow.
the same pastor that was on the retreat, he's of course doing the sermon. And he said, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to announce we have a new member of the church. Her name is Deirdre Cook. My maiden
Right,
name is
right.
Cook. Deirdre, would you please stand up? I'm poor little Deirdre, 20-year-old Deirdre in her little dress.
Oh my goodness.
And everybody's clapping. All these Asian people are clapping for me. And I was like, holy shiitake.
What the hell
I think
did
it's
you get
time to go.
yourself into?
So after church, we go down in the basement, okay, for lunch. Guess what they served?
What?
Kimchi.
Oh, kimchi. Okay. And we're back to the story. Wow.
Yeah, and you know why they-
was that it? Did you like had a
Well,
meal and then got a
well.
ride home, and
Yeah, but
were they hounding you for weeks after that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what happened was I got
pretty hard
back,
sell.
And one of my friends, she was a bartender at like the restaurant across the street from where I worked. So I went in, and of course I'm telling her the story, and she said, Deirdre, do you know that this is potentially serious?
Yeah.
She said, do you know that my sister was actually kidnapped by a cult, and it took us 5 years to get her back?
Yeah.
You must never go back there again.
Right.
And she made me promise,
Yeah,
because I
this
was still
is-
thinking like, well, I can just hang out with Valerie.
Oh gosh, when in the city, when I was working in the city initially, probably in the late 70s, early 80s, there was a whole square block right by the graduate school between 42nd and 43rd Street. There was an entire building that was owned by the Moons. And every few feet, they had like a little, they all looked different, but it was like a little greeting room where
Yeah.
you would go in, where they would meet people,
And
and
I
you
think-
go in, and yeah,
I
that
think
was
Valerie
serious.
was
People
not
were
a
getting
Moonie. Valerie was not a Moonie. Valerie was a recruiter.
right.
So you didn't have to be a Mooney to be a recruiter. They
Right.
paid you basically to do that. And,
How
you know,
many
and
people
I'm
they
sure she
brought
doesn't
in.
make that much money as a
Yeah.
blues singer
Oh
in
my
Chicago.
gosh, you escaped a cult.
Narrowly escaped a cult. And you know why they serve kimchi? Because they're depriving your brain of protein. Because if you don't consume any protein, they can, you know, kind of brainwash you a little bit easier.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, get to your kimchi. Was the kimchi delicious? The
It was
kimchi
the best
in Chicago
damn
was it
kimchi
good?
I ever had.
I bet it was. I've had kimchi and it's been horrible, but
Now,
I've had
it's been-
really good kimchi.
The last time I made it was 25 years ago.
Really?
And I don't know why. I mean, it's so cheap and
It's so cheap
easy.
and so delicious. And there's a place.
I'm forgetting what you probably know better than I am. With the,
No,
what
I
is the
don't
fermentation
actually.
Process?
I mean, it's just it's not that big a deal. It's not
Vinegar.
that. Yeah, it's vinegar,
Chilies.
fish sauce, and
Fish
chili.
sauce.
I think that's pretty much it.
And I think you just let it sit
You just
out.
let's like sauerkraut. You just let it
And kinda let it
wilt
rot.
and ferment. Yeah. There's a place in Jamaica, Queens, where I used to go visit my cousin. We used to go to this little Chinese place for lunch once in a while, and oh my gosh, they had the best kimchi, and they had the big. They're almost like old pickle barrels, you know? They had the big barrels of kimchi when you walked in, and it was almost like people would just be coming in, almost like packaged goods. People would come in and buy kimchi in like, you know,
I would love
gallon
that.
quarts or, oh my gosh,
It
was
was
so good.
expensive at the. I mean, a jar like
It is
I don't know, a 16-ounce jar was like $7 or something
Yeah,
like that.
it's
You
not-
know, it wasn't
It's not as cheap as it should be,
as it should
considering,
be,
considering what it is.
But it was
right.
my bad for just not,
Right.
Google it for God's sake. There's a
Right.
million recipes out there. Just
Yeah.
start making it again.
It is. The only thing is you have to be a little bit tricky. I mean, obviously the acidity in the vinegar, you're going to kill whatever's might possibly be growing. But even with sauerkraut, you have to be careful. You know, you have to be careful with
The fermentation process.
fermentation process. Yes.
Well, I think it's time.
Okay.
I think it's time for me to make some kimchi, and I also
Mm-hmm.
you can make it all different kinds of kimchi. Like I always used to think it was just cabbage. But
No.
you
That's
can
what I mean. In
do
this restaurant
cucumbers, you
in
can
Jamaica,
do-
they had like one had oyster mushrooms in it, and one had
Yeah.
bamboo shoots in it, and one had there were different variations of it, and each variation had a degradation of heat. So like this one was super hot, and this one was
And
the
I-
one with the mushrooms was my favorite. It was sort of like medium heat. The vinegar taste in it and the
there's no sugar to balance the sour, right?
there isn't, but you can if you make it yourself. You can do, you
add a
can
little
mess
bit
with,
just
you can mess
to
with it just like
kind
you
of
would
mellow it out a little bit.
You would do with any fermentation, sure.
Cool beans. Mm-hmm. So I am going to make kimchi soon. I think we have to go to break. Is that right, Rob? Mm-hmm. Okay, we got to go to break. So when we come back, some Italian food words that I wanted
Okay.
to discuss with you,
Alrighty.
and chicken,
Chicken.
just lots of chicken.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
Hey, this is Pat Foran, and
Zach Romano.
here at panjradio.com. When I have time, I'm hanging out here at the studio.
With the Shack Radio Boys.
PANJ Radio serves Mercer, Bucks, and Hunterdon counties and the world, and we want to serve your business on our airways. Commercial rates start at just $50 for a 30-second spot on your favorite PANJ show. We run your ad not just once, but up to 7 times in a 1-week period. That's a lot of bang for your buck online. We will track the number of listeners your commercial gets so you can measure how many new customers you get from airing it with us. For more information, please contact Rob at panjradio.com or call 609-460-4550. We can't wait to bring your company new local business on PANJ Radio.
Join us on the first Thursday of each month for Network Lambertville in Lambertville, New Jersey, the most productive open networking group in our area. At Network Lambertville, we serve award-winning wines, this month from La Vie, importers of fine Italian wines from Sicily, a fully catered meal created by Bitter Bob's Barbecue of New Hope, Pennsylvania, and fabulous desserts by Podge Cakes of New Hope. Network Lambertville is held at Green Birdie Productions Green Screen Studio at 21 Bridge Street in Lambertville, New Jersey. Networking with wine and past appetizers starts at 6 p.m., with dinner served at 7:30 p.m. All networkers get 1 minute with microphone to talk about their business to the group. There is no fee to join Network Lambertville, but we do ask for a $20 tax-deductible donation at the door to help cover expenses. Network Lambertville has over 450 members, but we do limit attendance to the first 50 guests. So please log on to www.networklambertville.com now to sign up and for more information. See you at the next Network Lambertville on Thursday, February 4th, starting at 6 p.m.
And welcome back to Food for Thought. I'm Deirdre Anderson with Delish Personal Chef Services.
And I'm Laura Mangone with Chambers Walk Cafe and Catering in Lawrenceville.
What do you have? What's your your special dish at the restaurant? What's our
our special dish at the
popular
restaurant?
dish?
Our most popular dish during lunch would be our pulled pork with black coffee barbecue sauce, which is actually in Steve Reichland's Barbecue USA book. He was there. He loved it. He asked for our recipe.
Really?
And it's
tell me
in
what's
his
in.
book.
So it's coffee in the barbecue sauce.
Espresso. Yeah, basically it's espresso. In the there's nothing really special about the barbecue sauce except there's
Kinda like
black coffee in
mole.
it. A little
Kinda
bit,
like
little
mole.
mole-ish. Yeah. And in the evening, I mean, there's no clear-cut winner when it comes to all of our entrees and apps. Like, pretty across the board. We have seafood, we have pasta, we've got some real casual things on our what's called our Bistro Basics menu, so it's family friendly during the week. People can come in, their kids can get a burger or a pizza or just chicken.
And what's the price point?
Price point for Bistro Basics is between 10 and 15 or 16.
Nice.
And for the entrees on the regular menu, I think the New York strip is 26, but it's pretty reasonable. Mm-hmm. Get a nice meal for $50, $40.
Nice.
Yeah.
I still can't believe I've never been there. It's kind of crazy.
Well, you know what? It's just far enough that
I never go out that way.
Yeah,
that's just it.
I totally get it. It's I like to be close to home when I go out. So even going into Princeton or Lawrenceville or, we sort of meet in Hopewell sometimes because it's a little bit closer. But I like to eat in Lambertville, New Hope. I mean, there's not too much in Flemington as we've covered. Yes.
Although we do have Chimney Rock coming soon.
Yeah.
And Jack Cust has now purchased the Union Hotel.
Oh, really?
And has got a liquor license.
There you go.
So
we'll see what happens there. And I have the Surgeons Fill-In around the corner. So that's a big draw when it's,
I know, and they're around the
5
corner.
minutes. They're around the corner for me. I can walk to it if I wanted to. It would be a brisk walk, but yeah, absolutely. Because there's a hill. I'm down the hill. But yeah, I don't like to stray too far from home. I mean, we go out often, but
Now,
just my husband and I like to be closer to home.
You're Italian, right?
I am Italian. Yes.
And even though I'm not officially Italian, I'm sort of Italian because my step grandfather, the only grandfather that I ever knew, was Italian, and he owned a restaurant in New York City. So we were raised with all Italian traditions. So when we were, and I'm also from Brooklyn, and you're from Brooklyn, right?
My parents are from Brooklyn. All of my siblings were born in Brooklyn. I'm the only one that was born in Staten Island.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yep.
So my brother and I moved to the Princeton area. I was in 6th grade, and he was in 5th grade. And we also had a little tiny brother, my baby brother, John. And we just thought it was so hilarious how people pronounce things out here.
Oh, boy.
We were like, Ma.
Mom.
Ma.
They say manicotti.
We thought manicotti was the funniest thing we've ever heard.
I know.
It's like, Ma, it's manigot.
Like-
Why are they saying manicotti? This
Right.
is so weird around here.
Yeah.
And then what about
Or
calamari?
Calamari.
Calamar.
You got to roll your R.
What was
Or
another
what
one?
else? Oh, my
What
gosh.
was another one?
Gnocchi. How about gnocchi? When people don't know the GN combination. Gnocchi. They'll say
gnocchi, yeah.
gnocchi
It's
or
just-
gnocchi or something like that. Or even now, people will say, instead of saying focaccia, they'll say focacceria or something. Like they'll say it like it's a like it's a store. It's a focacceria bread.
Anyway, we just thought that was so hilarious. And we wondered what was wrong with everybody. But of course, within months, we were all calling it manicotti because we were the kids. And we just didn't want to be the outcast.
Right. And you wanted people to
we wanted to
understand what you
blend.
were saying.
Got rid of our accents right away. Quick story coming from Brooklyn, because then we're gonna start to talk about chicken because it's such a fascinating topic. I thought, why not?
Why not? Okay.
But coming from Brooklyn to Belmead, which is right outside of Princeton, and at that time,
Which is
there
very
was a lot of
rural.
farmland. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
really
very-
was not very built
Even
up.
now, it's pretty rural.
It's but it's still compared to 20.
Well, then.
how many years ago? My God, it's almost 40 years ago.
Right.
So we're driving down Route 206, and there's all these farms. And my brother, who's in 5th grade, he says, "Hey, Ma," and we really called her Ma.
Ma, yeah.
Hey, Ma, are those cows plastic?
He had never seen cows before.
He really thought the cows were perhaps plastic.
That's hysterical.
So my parents were sort of like, "Thank God we're getting these kids out of the city."
It's time for a little
Are those
exposure.
cows plastic?
A little bit of exposure would be a good thing.
Oh my goodness. All right, now
funny.
you're probably wondering why I decided to talk about chicken.
Well, it's funny you're mentioning chicken because my mother, one of my mom's favorite sayings, because she would make a lot of chicken, was, "If I eat one more piece of chicken, I'm going to grow pin feathers." Is what my mother used to say.
Yeah.
She'd make a lot of chicken.
I have been
But
known
in
to eat
lots of different ways, though.
a lot of different ways. And
Yeah.
I was just going through, like, do you have my favorite roast chicken recipe? And this is where, for listeners who don't know, I'm a self-taught chef. Laura went to culinary school, so she knows a lot of things that I don't know.
And vice versa.
But no, I don't think so.
Well.
But what is the name of this method? I was talking about this on the show with my brother. I thought I made it up, but
Okay.
apparently it's a thing.
What is it?
I think we might have talked about this before.
I don't remember.
My favorite chicken that I make
Yeah.
is I make a paste and of softened butter, a shiitake ton of rosemary, fresh rosemary, chopped garlic, salt and pepper,
Right.
and a little lemon juice.
You
And
putting
I
it under
putting
the...
it under the skin, and I push it on the meat.
It's
of
called
the bird.
barding or larding.
Barding or larding, right?
Yeah.
He did tell me that.
Yeah.
So I thought I made it up.
And it's delicious.
It's really delicious.
Because your breast, the chicken breast is the most, it's almost like you, well, I don't want to say deep fried it, but it's just dripping with that deliciousness.
Well, the fat, it protects
bread-
it, it flavors it.
But
with
it
the
makes a
lemon juice,
pocket and it gets in there and that
Yeah.
all goes into
and
the
it really
breast.
permeates
Yeah.
the meat.
Oh,
Where when you have a
exactly.
skin, when you put things on top of the skin, as you know, it doesn't really
really
have a
get
chance
through.
to permeate
Yeah.
the meat. So I do that, and then I take, it's called my lemon rosemary chicken. Then I take some really thin lemon slices, and I put them all over I put on top of the skin for looks, I put more of that rosemary mixture, or even just some chopped rosemary. And then the lemon slices all over it. And then I take the lemon slices and I put it all around the perimeter of the pan in just a flat, single thing. Then I take, ideally you want to use that granulated brown sugar. It's just easier to use. And I generously dust each of the lemon slices
So it's
with
going
the
to
brown
caramelize. It's
sugar.
going to be so good.
So it all cooks, and then the lemon slice caramelizes, and then it starts to cook in the chicken juices, and you can eat it whole.
Yes, I love
it's
them.
just like chewy and lemony.
I know exactly what that taste is in my mouth right now. I love that.
So another trick I learned, which
Yum.
I've only done this maybe once or twice. It really did work. I don't know why. I just can't take it and put it into practice. I read in some cookbook a million years ago that one way of making a chicken breast or a turkey breast more moist, because as everybody knows, the bird takes time to cook, and by the time the legs are cooked, breast can be overcooked.
Right.
So you take a clean, tell me if you've heard of this.
Okay.
Take a clean towel or clean rag, cotton,
Yeah.
and you douse it with oil, and you just cover
Wrap
the
it.
breast with it. Is that a thing?
That is a thing.
What's it called?
I don't know what the name of it is. I don't know.
Does it have a name?
It's not a classic preparation. No, I wouldn't even know what the name is.
So it's just kind of a thing. It's not
just
a
kind of a
culinary
thing.
term.
You know what my mother-in-law always does? She always cooks her turkeys upside down. She cooks
I've heard of this too.
She cooks them breast side down for about 3/4 of the way, and then because all the juice is now concentrating into the breast.
I'm gonna
and
do
then
that.
she flips it over for the last quarter so it gets nice and golden. And my mother-in-law makes the best darn turkey. The breast
I'm gonna try that.
is always so super
and
moist.
it just takes care
Yeah,
of itself,
that's
because
it.
you're just submerging
It's
the breast
gravity.
in the fat.
It's literally gravity. It's upside down, so everything is dripping into it.
You know what I discovered about brine? Is that it's very possible to make it too salty.
Yes, you should have equal parts sugar and salt.
I was brining a turkey one day, and I, didn't really feel like looking up a recipe, because I know
Right.
how to make a brine.
Right.
And I'm just dumping everything in.
Right. No, yeah,
And
absolutely.
then I went to cook it, and I went to taste to make the gravy. Holy shiitake. It was so salty.
No, you need sugar in it too. Yeah.
I did the sugar, but I just did too much salt. I
Right.
didn't do whatever.
Yeah.
I was just like dumping away. When you
Right.
just think you know what you're doing, and then you realize you don't. Or maybe you don't. Okay, so first chicken
Yes.
recipe I'm going to share, and this one was a pretty good one, and I only had one thing that I would have done differently, and that is, Rob, how many minutes are we in? Hello?
13 left.
13 left. Okay. So it was Mario Batali. And I tend to like his recipes.
I like his recipes. He's
like-
pretty classic.
Pretty classic.
Straight down the line. Yeah.
I like his shtick.
I like his shtick. I
Because-
like his historical data that he always.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that.
I just like Emeril Lagasse. I like his recipes.
Yeah,
I've been
but
pretty
as a
pleased, but the shtick,
Yeah,
no,
the
not
shtick.
so much.
Yeah, me neither.
Not so much.
Yeah.
So I usually, when I see Mario Batali sharing something on Facebook or whatever, I usually pay attention. He's one of the guys that I like.
Right.
So it was a recipe for, and again, nothing crazy over the top, but classic. But I liked his technique.
Yeah.
So it was boneless chicken thighs, but with the skin on.
Right.
And I thought, good
Good
boy.
so
at least
far.
keep the
Right,
skin
yep.
on, please.
Yep.
And he pounded it a little bit. Salt and pepper on each side. Then he put in a piece of prosciutto and a nice handful of arugula.
Nice.
And he just kind of folded it like a book. And
Seared
the only thing I would have done, I think, even though, okay, I'm getting ahead of myself, but this at the final stages, this is going to go on a cauliflower cauliflower puree.
Okay.
Which is made with boiled cauliflower, garlic cloves,
Mm-hmm.
a little bit of mascarpone cheese, and some Parmesan cheese.
Okay.
Salt and pepper. So
Sounds
that's going to be like the bed.
The bed, okay.
So that's technically got some cheese in it, but in my opinion, I think you need a little sprinkle of cheese in with that arugula.
Yeah, it wouldn't have hurt.
Just a little something.
Or a shave of Parmigiano Reggiano, or
just
something.
I
Yeah.
just think
Tie it together.
just to pull it together. But
I
anyway,
agree.
so he just seared it, and he made a point of saying, "Don't worry about overcooking it. You just want a really nice browned each side of these."
Right.
Okay, so he put the chicken pieces on the bed of the cauliflower puree.
Time out. Did he finish it in the oven? Or
No.
he just seared
Did it all in the
right there?
pan.
Okay.
And then he deglazed the pan with some white wine, and he did a little, or he probably did some chopped garlic. Yeah,
Right.
garlic, white wine, and then reduced that. Chopped up some oyster mushrooms, and then took that and then poured it over the chicken.
Sounds delicious.
Very simple, but that's
Sounds yummy.
That's what I like.
Sounds good.
All right, your turn.
Chicken. Well, I mean, my go-to is chicken franchise because I just absolutely love it.
You do?
I do. I like my chicken franchise. Yeah.
Tell us about it.
My chicken franchise I make with breasts, but I slice them I'll take one breast and I'll get like 4 pieces out of it. I'll slice it on the angle so they're very thin. I'm not
Okay.
pounding anything, but I'm slicing it on the angle.
Do you believe in pounding
shingling
chicken?
it. I don't really. No. I mean, if I were doing a paillard or something where it really needed to be, but on a salad, like maybe on a nice arugula salad, just a paillard with lemon or something like that, maybe pounding. But no, I don't. Even in that form, I would rely on knife skills, not pounding. I think
Yeah.
it just damages the,
Why bother? It's not a tough meat.
Yeah. So
So-
my chicken franchise is I dredge it in seasoned flour, which is just flour that has salt and pepper. And then I dip it into eggs, which have just been beaten up with a little bit of salt and pepper in that as well. And that's what makes it franchise. The Anglaise way of breading something is either egg and flour or egg and breadcrumbs. The French way, the franchise, is you do the flour first and the egg second. And then I would just pan fry it until
Wait,
golden.
say that again. I don't think I know this.
So that's why
That's
it's called franchise.
It's flour first, egg
flour
second.
first, egg second. That's just the French way of dredging something. The American way, or Anglaise, is to do it with either flour, egg, breadcrumb, or egg, flour, or egg, breadcrumb. So it's egg first.
I always thought chicken franchise was Italian.
It's not. Well, no. It's franchise is the way of stuff. It's French. No, it's a French term.
See, I'm
Yeah.
pretty dumb sometimes.
No, you're not.
I'm dumb, but how long have I been cooking?
Well, it's served both in Italian and
All right.
French
All right.
cuisines,
That's-
but the
okay.
word comes
Okay. Is the
from
French.
a la French, from the French.
Okay.
So then I would pan sear it, till brown. Usually I use a little bit of olive oil and butter together till golden. And then my favorite about franchise is the sauce myself. I would saute some shallots. So now I do my chicken. And now it's out of the pan and resting. If I needed to finish it, I'd throw it in the oven just to hold it, to keep it warm. And in the pan, I would saute some shallots. I would hit it with some either white wine or vermouth. And I would then take that off the heat and let it sit a little bit so it's not scalding hot, and just whisk into it butter. So whisking, while you're doing this, while you're whisking the butter into the sort of not quite too hot sauce, it's emulsifying, so it's getting creamy.
Right.
And then I would hit it with a little lemon juice, and that's it. Done. Put it over the chicken. It's so delish. I love it. I do
Very
love it.
nice.
I really do love
Very
it.
nice. Okay, my turn.
Also good with flounder or shrimp, or you can do, filet of sole.
I
Anything
haven't had
can
a
be.
franchise
Anything
since
could
I
be
can remember.
franchise. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's because it's the style of cooking. It's not necessarily the.
Well, lately not being able to eat anything,
Well, that's your.
Although I'm
thing.
celebrating eating today.
Good.
I ate salmon today. I'm going to Triumph after this.
Good.
I'm going to have wings. I mean,
Good.
every once in a while I do have to eat, but as a
Well-
rule, I don't.
But you should.
I know, but
You
we're
can
waiting
eat
for this
so much, but you can eat so
estrogel to
much
kick in.
food. You can lose weight when eating so much food.
Not when you're in menopause. Laura.
Really?
I'm sorry.
Okay.
In menopause, it's you got to eat hard-boiled eggs and wear a lot of black.
You're crazy.
It's true.
Anyway, next chicken.
All right, I'll do the chicken dish that I served at my restaurant.
Okay.
I actually had two that I served at the restaurant when I had my restaurant that should have been called Flash in the Pan. Yeah. But it wasn't. It was called Babette's. I did a roasted chicken with, no. I called it baked chicken with roasted fruits and balsamic glaze.
Yum.
So
What kind of fruits? Sounds good.
I did, and I'm going to have to try to remember, but I did because I'm very into skin and bones with chicken. I just really, really don't like to. But I also know that some people are like, where's my chicken
People
breast?
Chicken breast.
You
I know, but
so
chicken breasts really have no flavor.
really doesn't. So what I
yeah.
did was I did little thigh and drumstick, but then I did a breast or a piece of a breast, not a whole one.
Right.
And I kind of cut it through the skin, shingled it a little
Right.
bit. So you got a little bit of everything. And I
Beautiful.
thought that would make people happy.
And what? Tell me about the fruit, though.
I think it was mango, pineapple, and peaches.
Yum.
Was the original recipe
sounds
that
really
I did.
good.
And I roasted it just with olive oil and whole cloves of garlic. Mm-hmm. And some people say garlic and fruit. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
It
Oh
works
my
because the
gosh.
garlic gets kind
Totally
of mellow and
works.
sweet.
Yummy.
And then I just tossed it in a little balsamic glaze, which is balsamic vinegar, a little brown sugar and butter. Mm-hmm. And
Sounds really, really good.
yeah,
Really good.
I think like the two people that used to come in and order it. No, I thought it was good.
It's really good.
All right, your turn. Chicken.
Oh my gosh. Well, let's see. Chicken. When my husband's working dinner and not home, I do this little ditty on my panini machine, which is on my counter, and I use sort of like a toaster. I will, and this is can be done literally in 10 minutes.
Okay.
And
it's a chicken dish?
This
can
is
be
a
done in
chicken
10 minutes?
dish. It's
Okay.
so easy. I thinly slice the chicken, raw chicken.
Okay.
I throw it in a Ziploc bag with a little bit of soy sauce, a little bit of lemon zest and lemon juice, a crushed clove of garlic, and just a teeny little bit of olive oil. And I'll just toss it around a little bit in my Ziploc. And then at that point, when it's sitting for a few minutes, I run upstairs and I change my clothes. And then I come down and the panini machine is heating. And I'll put the chicken on there and I will close the panini machine. And at that point, I take the dogs out for a walk. And when I come back,
You are such a multitasker.
I take the chicken off because it's pretty much, it's done
So
very
the
quickly.
It's chicken breast, and it's
chicken
being
breast.
cooked in a panini machine.
It is, but it's done. I do it so quickly, and it's marinated pretty. It's almost like ceviche because I have a lot of lemon juice in it, so it can get done really, literally in 3 minutes.
Okay.
Take that off. Then I throw a handful of spinach, just fresh spinach, right on the panini machine. And then, literally 30 seconds later, I open it up and I wipe all that off because it now has all that lemon and soy and deliciousness in there. So
Right.
it's sort of caramelized a little bit. And I put that on top of the chicken and squeeze a big old lemon all over it. Voila. It's like dinner is done in literally 10 minutes. And it's so delicious. It's obscene.
Delish.
It's obscene. It's so good.
All right, chicken.
Back to you.
Chicken. Chicken Barcelona.
Chicken Barcelona.
Barcelona. Chicken thighs with the bone. Brown the. I don't even think I use flour in this one. I think I just brown the thighs first.
Okay.
Then I saute some onions, some red peppers, garlic. Okay. Deglaze with some white wine, of course.
Right.
And chicken stock. This was a dish I was trying to do for my clients, they're always concerned about their weight.
Right.
So I was trying to keep it really light. That's probably why I didn't do the flour.
Right.
So then as it's simmering, you put the chicken pieces back in and you you dump in a bunch of pitted Kalamata olives, the really good artichoke hearts if you can find them. You know, the ones with the big long stems.
love
I
them.
can't always find them, but
Yep.
when you can get them, get them.
Yeah.
Pieces of those and the olives. Put the lid back on. Simmer the chicken for probably like an hour on low.
Yum.
And then just before serving, I would take a tomato and cut it up, take the seeds out,
Right.
and cut it up and just sprinkle it all over the top.
You know
And
what
the
that's
reason-
called?
What?
Concasse.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. If it's peeled and de-seeded.
No, because it's not seeded. It's not peeled.
Oh, I thought you
Ah.
peeled. All right. I thought you
knew-
peeled.
And I thought it was concasse.
It's concasse. But,
I'm looking that one up, dude.
okay.
I'm
look it up.
sorry.
Yep.
We're running out of time. Can you believe this, shiitake?
You're kidding.
No.
I
Can
I
we
have another
can we do
chicken.
it?
I wanted to do chicken marbella.
So anyway, okay. So here's
Love
what
chicken marbella.
I love chicken marbella too.
I know.
Because I didn't want to go through the concasse.
Okay.
Concasse. Concasse. You say whatever.
Okay. You say
the
tomato.
reason why I dump it all in the last minute is because one of the reasons why you would do a concasse or whatever it is because once a tomato is in there cooking, the skin will like fall
Yeah,
off, and
exactly.
it's not nice.
Right.
And wasn't it Marie Antoinette who first decided that was a thing?
That was, yes, it was.
She did not like those.
She didn't like the
skins.
skins. Nope.
No.
You're right.
All right, we are actually out of time.
Unbelievable. Where
And we only
where
got,
does the time go?
Where does the time go? So next week, hopefully, we're going to have a guest eventually. We're trying to find out who the new manager at Triumph Brewery is in New Hope. Maybe we'll have them on, maybe not.
Cool beans.
But come
Well-
back next week for PANJradio.com. Food for thought.
We'll be here.